episode 575 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Tonight, it was Wrestlemania RAW. We had The Rock appearing in Brooklyn. The Tribal Chief Roman Reigns making his return to Raw. Seth Rollins wanted to face The Rock. Wanted to face Roman Reigns one-on-one on Raw tonight. He would even let them choose. Who did Seth frickin' Rollins end up facing on Raw tonight? I will talk about that and more on 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Tonight also, all the news going on in the world of pro wrestling. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to 360 Wrestling Fanatic on this Monday night. The go-home episode of WWE Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania 40 is now in the books. And I'm going to be talking all about tonight's go-home episode of Raw before WrestleMania 40 this weekend, the biggest weekend of the year for pro wrestling. Going to be talking all about tonight's show. But actually, first, on this Monday night episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, going to be doing things just a little bit different tonight. First, before I get into Raw, I want to talk about Bray Wyatt becoming Immortal. The new documentary came out just today on Peacock and the WWE Network. And I watched it today before Raw tonight. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to come on here tonight and talk about that first before I get into Raw. But I just want to say, first, maybe I should give a spoiler warning. If you have not seen it yet, you can either stop now or fast forward a little bit if you don't want to be spoiled in case you haven't watched it yet. Once again, either if you're listening to the audio podcast or if you're watching the video version, you can either stop it now or fast forward, skip ahead, whichever you want to do. I just want to say this was excellent. I definitely recommend you watching this, either if you're here in the United States, Peacock, or if you're international, WWE Network. But this, I would say, maybe a must-see for anyone who is a fan of pro wrestling, or especially if you were a big Bray Wyatt fan, this is one you definitely have to see. Bo Dallas interviewed, and I know that I'm sure most people already know that he was Uncle Howdy, but they do actually, I believe for the first time, actually say that he was actually Uncle Howdy. And Mike Rotunda, Barry Windham also interviewed his sister. His mother interviewed as well. Triple H, Seth Rollins, Big E, and they show some never-before-seen footage, some interviews that WWE never released back when he was Bo Dallas. Of course, they talk about his NXT days, FCW, even before that, and then, of course, Husky Harris, like I said, and then when Bray Wyatt, when he started that in NXT, and then just his whole career. And they do cover the passing of Brody Lee, Luke Harper, and the Wyatt family, John Huber. They do mention that, which I thought was a very nice touch, and they showed this interview of Bray Wyndham Rotunda out of character, and he's very emotional, crying, and is showed like some really interesting behind the scenes footage when he was doing the Fiend character. And like I said, I really don't want to give away too much. If you haven't seen it yet though, definitely check this out. Either Peacock or the WWE Network. I recommend this. This is a must-see. Where would I rank this exactly? I don't know. But I would definitely put this somewhere on the list. Maybe top 5 of documentaries that WWE have ever made. It's just my opinion, but I thought it was great. Definitely, once again, check it out. Either Peacock or the WWE Network, depending on your location. And now, without any further ado, let's get into tonight's WWE Monday Night Raw, the go-home WrestleMania RAW. Before this weekend's WrestleMania XL, WrestleMania 40. And Raw tonight is live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. First hour, commercial free, which actually, I believe they first went to commercial around 8:54. Not really that big of a deal, but I see when they say the first hour commercial free, I expect 8 all the way to 9 commercial free. But like I said, only 5-6 minutes before. Not really that big of a deal. And our commentators for the evening tonight, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. And we start off with the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, the People's Champion, or now more so the final boss, The Rock. Cuts a promo, shows some reactions on TikTok, whatever that app the young kids are using these days. Who knows? Whatever that is, of kids reacting to the beatdown The Rock gave Cody Rhodes last week. And just great, another great heel promo from The Rock. And then we get the return of the Tribal Chief, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. And then we hear the music of the World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins. Does not come from the entrance. We see him up in the crowd, and he wants the main event for the biggest Raw ever. He challenges The Rock. He also challenges Roman Reigns. He tells them they could choose whoever they want to face him tonight on Raw. But The Rock says no. Roman Reigns, nope, not going to be facing Seth freaking Rollins tonight on Raw. But the main event that we get tonight on WrestleMania RAW is Seth freaking Rollins taking on the enforcer of the bloodline, Solo Sikoa. That match will take place tonight on Raw, which was fun. And, they weren't going to have The Rock work a match tonight, especially unadvertised. So even right when Seth Rollins put out that challenge for The Rock to face him tonight on Raw, you knew it wasn't going to happen. Definitely was not expecting The Rock to have his first match on Raw in how many ever years it's been, but they weren't going to all of a sudden, unadvertised, just throw a Rock match on Raw. And Roman didn't really expect that either. A little more believable than The Rock. See, The Rock versus Seth Rollins tonight, at least that was a little more believable. And then, when we find out he will be facing Solo Sikoa, more realistic, obviously. And tonight, we see the Judgment Day in the back. They're a little upset with Dirty Dom, Dominic Mysterio, not communicating with them, going out on his own, teaming with Santos Escobar at WrestleMania to take on Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. And who are they? Somebody from the LWO, I know, but. And they meet up in the back. And speaking of the Judgment Day, they are in action. 8-man tag. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dirty Dom, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough take on the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Judgment Day getting the win in this one. And we see some training, coaching between Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. And then Sami Zayn taking on Big Bronson Reed. This one ends in a no contest when we see the WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther make his way out on the stage, and he just laid out Sami Zayn's coach, trainer, whichever you want to call him, Chad Gable, left him lying on the entrance. Sami went to go check on him, and then while he was checking on Chad Gable, Gunther comes back out and attacks him once more, leaves Sami Zayn laying, so no contest there. Women's tag team action up next. We have the team of Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile defeating Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And Ricochet defeats Ivar, making his return to Raw this week. And Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane are in action. They defeat Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Tegan Nox. And Damage Control is victorious, getting the win in this one tonight, the 6-woman tag team match. With, I believe it was, Kairi Sane getting the pin on Tegan Nox to score the victory for her team. And Kairi Sane will defend the Women's World Championship against, or is it the WWE Women's Championship? Sorry, I get those confused. Against Bayley on WrestleMania Sunday. In the main event, Bloodline Rules. Seth freaking Rollins taking on Solo Sikoa. Good match. Solo Sikoa hitting Rollins with a Samoan drop off the top rope through a table. Also Rollins hitting Solo with a powerbomb through another table. Curb stomp. But Bloodline, of course, gets involved. We have Jimmy Uso and then Jey Uso coming out to counter him. Bloodline Rules, no DQs, no countouts, anything goes. And earlier, we were told that Cody Rhodes was not medically cleared to be on Raw tonight, but this was a trap between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. The American Nightmare makes his way out, attacks The Rock, goes over to the announce table, looks like he's going to actually hit The Rock with a rock bottom through the announce table, but just then the tribal chief makes his way out, makes the save for The Rock, and they take Cody and Seth in the ring, get the weight belt, and beat them down in the middle of the ring as Raw goes off the air. And that was tonight's Go Home WrestleMania RAW episode. And I'd say for a Go Home episode, it was actually a pretty good show. I wouldn't say there was really anything bad on tonight's episode of Raw. Pretty solid, in my opinion anyway. But who knows? And before I wrap up this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, checking to see if there's any news. Yes, there is. It was announced today the final inductee of the class of 2024 of the WWE Hall of Fame is Leah Maya Villa, of course, The Rock's grandmother. The Rock will be inducting her, of course. And she will be in the Hall of Fame this Friday night, right after SmackDown. Also, it was announced today that Roman Reigns will be inducting Paul Heyman, which, not surprised that I wouldn't be surprised if this is more of a WWE decision to have Roman Reigns. Now, I don't know this for sure. Obviously, do not know Paul Heyman, but I would think that maybe he would like to have somebody from ECW maybe induct him. But like I said, this could be a WWE decision. And also, added to WrestleMania 40, we're going to have a Philadelphia street fight with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits taking on the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, and the Authors of Pain. And that is about it for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. You know what to do, everyone. Go in the comment section, leave your thoughts and your opinions and your ratings on tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Also, WrestleMania predictions as well down below in the comment section, either right here on YouTube, Spreaker, or if the website or app you listen to on has a comment section. Leave your thoughts and your opinions down below in the comment section, Or as always, you can talk anything pro wrestling, just as long as it is pro wrestling. And thank you for listening, downloading the podcast tonight. We'll be back tomorrow morning for the Tuesday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. I will talk to everyone tomorrow morning, but until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.